Okay, so good day everyone. This will be the prelude discussion for Exer 4A entitled Acid-Base Titrations. So let's define some terms first. Okay, so titrimetry is a technique that measures a substance of unknown concentration in a solution of interest via reaction with a standard containing a known substance concentration. So basically, we have prepared the standard solutions that you have prepared last week. So yung standard solutions of HCl and NaOH will be used for titration. So in this case, we determine the precise volume of this standard reacting stoichiometrically with the known or with the unknown solution. So dito gagamit tayo ng burette holder, ng clamp, iron stand, tsaka ng flask. Okay? So we have several terms that we must know. So we have first the titrant. It is the reagent of known concentration added to a solution containing the analyte. So usually, ang ating titrant ay nilalagay natin sa burette. Okay? Then we have the analyte or the titrand. This is the constituent of interest in the sample. So yung analyte natin, these are usually placed inside the flask. Okay? So meron tayong titrant, meron tayong analyte. Then we have the term equivalence point. So equivalence point happens when just enough titrant is added to react completely with the analyte. So basically, this is a true value. However, experimentally, what we get is the endpoint. Okay? So the endpoint is the experimental estimation of equivalence point, and is this observed as abrupt change in physical chemical property of the solution. So usually, sa mga simulang part ng ating titration, this will be observed as a color change in our analyte. And as opposed to the equivalence point, endpoint is considered as the experimental value. Then, since we have a true value and the experimental value, the difference between these two is referred as a titration error. Okay? It is a difference between the equivalence point and the endpoint. So dito, parang ang dating natin is, if we have a bar, ito ay arbitrary bar lang, no? So suppose, andito yung ating equivalence point. Okay. So, as we add our titrant to the analyte, so nafi-fill up itong ating bar. Suppose. Yan. Tapos, ang ating, ito ay volume, no? Volume of titrant. So, as we fill up this gap, or this block, as we reach the equivalence point, doon rin makikita na equal na yung ating analyte tsaka yung component ng titrant na nag-react with analyte. Okay? Pero in reality, we don't get the equivalence point, but we get the point na malapit lang tayo sa equivalence point. So, pwedeng mangyari dyan is, in reality, what we can do is, pwedeng hanggang dito lang tayo, kasi dito sa part na to, meron ng color change. Diba? Na-observe na natin yung color change dito. So dito, parang it indicates the end of the titration. Or pwede rin naman na sa part na to, dito nyo nakita yung change. Yan. As you add your titrant, dito nyo nakita yung change. Yan. So basically, doon sa color blue natin na ginawa, ito yung change before the equivalence point. So basically, yung gap na yon, yung gap na ito, yan, yung gap na yan, that corresponds to the titration error. Titration error. Then doon naman sa yellow, since nakita natin yung endpoint beyond the equivalence point, so that will serve as our, itong gap na ito, this will serve as our titration error naman if we make use of the yellow titrant. Okay? So ang goal natin is to have the endpoint near the equivalence point para konti lang yung makommit natin na titration error. Okay. So let's proceed to the next slide. So we have here the titration curve. Ayan. So the titration curve is a graph that shows the progress of the titration as a function of volume of titrant added. So suppose we have a solution. Tapos, as mentioned, di ba yung ating setup ay ganito? Ito yung ating burette. Tapos ito yung ating analyte. Tapos nakalagay yan sa iron stand. Ayan. So as we add the volume of the titrant from the burette to the receiver do sa ating e-flask, so habang wala pa tayong ina-add, so 0 ml ng NaOH, for example, so kunwari, NaOH na nandito. So since 0 ml pa siya, yung initial pH niya ay nandito daw sa 1. Ayan. So between 0 and 2. So 1 yun. Tapos, as the titration progresses, ibig sabihin, as you continuously add your titrant to your analyte, nagbabago yung ating pH. Ayan. So, tumataas yung pH natin since nag-a-add tayo ng base. So, di ba, ang base natin, nagpapataas yan ng pH. So, nagtataas yan ng pH up to the point na meron tayong steep slope. Kasi yung steep slope na yon, this corresponds to your equivalence point. So, as you can see, kapag na-reach yung equivalence point, ibig sabihin, yung analyte natin, tsaka yung titrant natin, it reach the amount na equal yung OH minus concentration and H3O plus concentration. So, ito yung base, ito yung acidic part. So, kapag equal yung dalawang yan, ibig sabihin, ang ating pH na ngayon is pH 7. So, doon talaga natin makikita yung steepest slope natin. So that corresponds to your equivalence point. Then, as you reach the equivalence point, as you add gradually small amounts of titrant to your solution, so nakakaroon ulit tayo ng gradual increase of slope dito sa right side of the equivalence point. Okay? So now, paano ba natin makikita yung abrupt change na sinasabi natin sa endpoint? So we will add our indicator. Okay. So in this case, we must choose an indicator with a pKa near the equivalence point pH. So for example, ang ginagawa natin is acid-base. Sa acid-base titration, we usually have the equivalence point at around pH 7. Ayan. So dito nakikita yung equivalence point natin. So ngayon, kung ang ating equivalence point ay around pH 7, dapat ang gagamitin nating indicator is merong corresponding change of color at pKa around pH 7. So ang dapat ang gamitin natin is pwedeng itong phenolphthalein or pwede rin itong ating bromthymol blue. Ayan. So ano bang ini-indicate nito? So for example, if yung ating solution or analyte, yung analyte natin na nasa e-flask, ay medyo acidic pa, ibig sabihin, dapat yung color niya, if you use indicator na phenolphthalein, dapat siya ay colorless pa. Okay? Pero as you reach the pH na basic na, ibig sabihin, na nalagpasan mo ng equivalence point. Kasi equivalence point is kapag equal yung OH at H3O+. So kapag lumagpas ka na sa equivalence point, ibig sabihin, meron kang minute amount of the titrant in the form of NaOH or OH minus na nadagdag na dun sa ating e-flask na may analyte. So ibig sabihin, sa endpoint kasi, at endpoint, equal lang OH minus tsaka H3O plus. Pero, when you add small amount of titrant, ang mangyayari na dito is, so upon addition of small amount of titrant, suppose ang titrant natin is a base, so the concentration of OH minus is now greater than the concentration of the H3O plus. So kapag greater than na yan, ibig sabihin, greater than 7 na yung pH mo. Pag greater than 7 na yung pH mo, nakakaroon tayo ng color pink. Yan. That's why ang endpoint natin when we will use acid-base titration by means of phenolphthalein as indicator, dapat ang ating endpoint is faint pink. Faint pink. So alam naman natin yung color ng colorless, di ba? So kapag nagkaroon ng subtle change of color from colorless to something near pink or purple, ibig sabihin, endpoint ka na. Okay? Ibig sabihin nun, meron ka ng small amounts of OH minus na sumobra. That's why, ang consequence nun is the appearance of the pink color. Okay? So, yan. So, how about bromthymol blue? So, yung bromthymol blue, kapag acidic pa yung ating analyte, color yellow yan. Pero kapag malapit na siyang mag-endpoint, nagko-color green yan. Yung green natin is yung mixture ng yellow tsaka blue. Okay? Pero kapag sumobra ka na from the pH 7, ibig sabihin, mas marami na yung OH minus dun sa ating solution rather than the H3O+, nagiging color blue na yung solution natin. So, ang endpoint kapag bromthymol blue is color green. Okay. Yan. So, hindi laging faint pink yung makikita nating endpoint. So, it depends on the indicator that you chose. Okay? So, what if gumamit tayo ng methyl violet? Yan. So, magsa-start tayo sa acidic, di ba? Ang graph natin, di ba, pag ganito. Ito yung pH, ito yung volume ng titrate. So, habang tumataas yan, then mag-steep slope, tapos ganito ulit. Pero, dito pa lang sa area na to, magkakaroon ng color change. Bakit? Kasi yung color change niya happens at around pH between 0 and 2. Ibig sabihin, kahit pH 3 ka pa lang or pH 2 ka pa lang, magkakaroon na ng color change from yellow to violet. So yung color change from yellow to violet is not an indication of the equivalence point or the end point of the titration. Kasi malayo pa yung pKa natin from the pH 7 that we desire. Okay? So very vital dito yung pagpili natin ng indicator. Okay? Next, we have several criterion to say that the reaction is suitable for titration. So first, dapat siya ay stoichiometric, meaning to say there is a definite and reproducible relationship between the reacting substance. Followed by quantitative, meaning to say the reaction goes to completion when an amount of titrant equivalent to the amount of analyte present has been added. So the reaction is at least 99.9% complete. So that ma-account natin yung amount of analyte based from the added titrant. So by then, we can say that quantitative yung relationship ng ating analyte once it goes to completion yung reaction natin. Number 3, it must be rapid. So it is easy estimation of equivalence point with acceptable degree of accuracy and precision. Kasi dito, dapat mabilis yung ating process para maging masabi natin reliable yung results natin. Next, there must be no side reaction. And 5, there is a suitable means for estimating the equivalence point. So meaning to say, dapat meron ka appropriate indicator or appropriate instrument methods. So instrumental methods natin, this will be applied to you during Exer 5 when we proceed with potentiometry. So dito gagamit kayo ng pH meter to monitor the pH changes as you proceed with the titration. Ngayon, for Exer 4A and 4B, we will proceed first with the use of indicator. So the indicator for Exer 4A will be phenolphthalein. And number 6, again, this is based from the choice of your indicator. So the equivalence point must coincide with the endpoint. Okay? So as we perform the titration, so dapat wag yung kakalimutan na mag-add ng indicator. Kasi kahit ilang ml pa or kahit makailang burette kayo na addition of titrant to your analyte at sinasabi niya, sir, walang color change na nangyayari. So, yung color change na yun ay mangyayari lang kapag mayroong presence of indicator sa inyong analyte. Okay? Then for the proper technique for titration, so as you hold the burette, you will hold the stopcock by the less dominant hand. So kung kayo ay kanan, so yung left hand yung hahawak dun sa ating stopcock dun sa ating burette. Tapos as you can see, parang nakayapos yung kamay natin dun sa burette. So that is one means of security din kasi may times na kapag pinipihit lang natin on the side yung ating stopcock, may times na natatanggal yung burette from the iron clamp. So medyo hazard pa yon. So kapag yapos-yapos ng kamay mo yung inyong stopcock, so may security doon na pwedeng matanggal man yung inyong burette from the iron clamp, hindi mababasag or hindi malalaglag yung ating burette from the iron clamp. Also, yung dominant hand kasi natin is the one responsible for swirling our e-flask so that alam natin na fast yung reaction ng analyte natin with the added titrant. Okay? Next, the standardization of solution. So, how do we know that, di ba, from the previous week, we prepared 0.05 normal HCl and 0.05 normal NaOH. So yung standardization natin is we will standardize, meaning to say we will know the true concentration of your solution. Kasi dito, how will we know if 0.05 normal ba talaga sa HCl? How do we know na hindi siya 0.04999 or 0.0508? Diba? So by then, we will know by means of standardization. Okay? So yung standardization is a determination of exact concentration of a solution with high degree of accuracy. And once we have standardized the solution, the standardized solution is now referred as the standard solution. So a solution whose concentration is of known concentration with a degree of accuracy. So we have here several standards. So we have here a primary standard. So primary standard is a solid with high degree of purity, so around 99 to 95%, used to determine the exact concentration of a solution. So yung primary standard natin, yung gagamitin natin to standardize your secondary standard. Okay? So yung secondary standard is a solution standardized using a primary standard that can be used to standardize other solutions. So in our case, ang ating primary standard is this one. So this is potassium acid phthalate. Okay? So KHP is potassium acid phthalate. Then this will be used as a primary standard for NaOH. So meaning to say, ang nasa e-flask nyo dito is a KHP. Then yung nasa burette nyo ay si NaOH. So dito malalaman natin kung yung tunay na concentration ng NaOH based dun sa reaction ng NaOH with KHP. Okay? Tapos, once we have standardized our NaOH, this NaOH will now be referred as the secondary standard, and this secondary standard will be used to standardize your HCl solution. Standardize. Okay. So what are the quality of a good primary standard? First, it must be with high purity. It must be stable. So by stable, meaning to say it is not hygroscopic. So kapag hygroscopic, ibig sabihin hindi siya nag-absorb ng moisture from the environment. So anong implication kapag nag-absorb siya ng moisture from the environment? So as previously learned from your exercise 2A and 2B, ayan. So affected ng small amount of changes ng matter yung ating mass. So for example, kapag nag-condense or nag-evaporate, so affected yung ating mass, diba? Since ang ating analytical balance is very sensitive up to 4 decimal places. So kapag hygroscopic yung ating sample, ibig sabihin, yung water from the air that we have inside our balance, so mag-absorb yung water doon. So pag nag-absorb yung water, nag-add up siya dun sa mass ng ating sample. So dapat yung ating good primary standard is stable in a sense na hindi siya hygroscopic. Okay? Next, ang ating good primary standard shall have high molecular weight also to minimize relative error due to weighing. And also, it must have it must be relatively cheap and non-toxic. So ito yung mga example natin ng primary standard. So we have the potassium acid phthalate. Ito yung ginagamit natin as primary standard for acids. I mean, primary acids natin. Yung primary bases natin usually ay sodium carbonate or itong ating tris base. Ang tris base natin ay tris hydroxymethyl aminomethane. So, kung natin gagawin is standardization of NaOH solution. So, yung ating bitalate from the KHP will react with OH minus to produce your phthalate ion. Okay? So, the volume of NaOH solution required to react with accurately known amount of KHP is determined. So, yung OH minus natin na ito comes from your titrant. And yung amount ng bitalate natin comes from your primary standard. So kapag nagkaroon na ng stoichiometric reaction yung ating bitalate with titrant, so you will produce your phthalate. Okay? Tapos yung ating OH minus, suppose lahat ng bitalate natin is exhausted namin to say lahat ng present na bitalate is na-form na to its phthalate form, yung OH minus natin, once it reacted with your indicator, it produces the color pink na makikita natin as abrupt change in color dun sa ating e-flask. So at equivalence point, the milli equivalence of NaOH is equal to the milli equivalence of KHP. Meaning to say, kung ano man yung equivalent na meron si bitalate, equal yan sa equivalent na pwedeng i-react with your NaOH. Okay? So for the standardization of NaOH, here, we have this solution. So, kung ano yung equivalence ng ating NaOH, equivalence equivalence nung ating primary standard or KHP. So, ang unang tanong natin dito is, ano ba yung NaOH na ginamit natin? As a solution ba or as a solid? So, yung NaOH na ginamit natin dito here is a solution. So, kapag solution, ang equivalence na ay equal sa NV. Okay? So, again so dito, kapag solid, ang equivalence natin ay equal sa NV. So, ang NV natin is normality multiplied to its volume. Then, yung ating KHP ay ginamit natin siya as solid. So, kapag solid, ang ginagawa natin is mass over equivalent weight. Okay. So, again, dito, equivalence ng ating solid na KHP ay equal sa mass over equivalent weight ng KHP. Okay. Tapos, as part of a factor to convert your equivalent weight to molecular weight, samahan tayo ditong N, where N is the number of replaceable H plus or OH minus in the acid-base reaction. So, para hindi kayo malito dito, so molecular weight ay equal sa nu. Yan. So, since kailangan natin dito is equivalent weight, yan. So, pwede mo natin isulat to as M over molecular weight over N. Okay? Tapos, ang equivalent weight ng ating KHP is equal to 204.22 grams per equivalent. So, kailangan ba natin sa uluhin ito? Yes. So, lagi natin gagamitin si KHP. So, might as well you memorize the equivalent weight of KHP, which is equal to 204.22 grams per equivalent. Okay? So, by means of standardization, ano yung kailangan natin dito? Okay. So, i-clear ko lang tong ating slide. So, di ba nag-prepare tayo ng 0.05 normal NaOH? Tapos ang goal natin is to determine kung 0.05 normal ba talaga yung ating concentration. So, how do we do that? So, dito, we calculate for the normality of NaOH by means of titration. Yan. So you can calculate for the concentration of NaOH by getting the ratio of the mass and equivalence weight of the KHP and the divided by the volume of the NaOH. Okay. So now, for the standardization of HCl solutions, so as mentioned earlier, yung ating secondary standard na NaOH will be used to standardize your standard HCl. So by means, we have here the milliequivalence of NaOH is equal to the milliequivalence of HCl. So since parehas liquid yung ating NaOH and HCl, so ang ating equivalence ay NV lang. So NV ng NaOH equal sa NV ni HCl. Okay? So take note pala dito ha, na when we calculate for the normality of NaOH, make sure that the volume used in the NaOH must be in liters. Kasi ang ating formula for normality is equivalent per liter. So paano nangyari yun? Ang mass ng KHP natin is in grams. Ang ating equivalent weight unit is in gram per equivalent. Then ang ating unit for volume must be in liter. Okay? So magka-cancel yung gram natin dito. So aakit sa equivalence dito, then the final unit for the normality is equivalent per liter. Okay? Then as you calculate for the standard concentration of HCl, so i-rearrange na natin itong equation na ito to arrive at this equation na NHCl is equal to NVNaOH divided by the volume of HCl. So dito, hindi tayo masyado meticulous sa units as long as parehas yung unit natin dito sa volume natin. So kung ginamit nyo dito ay ml, dapat ml din dito sa baba para mag-cancel yon. Or kung ginamit nyo dito is in liter, dapat liter yung gagamitin nyo sa denominator so that mag-cancel yung liter. So ang matitira nating unit is in normality, since normality naman yung desired unit natin for normality ng HCl. Okay. So now, you will be provided with an unknown acid. Okay. So by unknown acid, you will determine its equivalent weight. Okay. So the equivalent weight is the mass in grams of a substance that will furnish or react with 1 mole of hydrogen ion. So at equivalence point, the mole equivalence of the unknown acid is equal to the mole equivalence of NaOH. So what is the significance of strengths of acids and base? So at equal concentration, ang 1 ml ng strong monoprotic acid will react exactly with 1 ml of strong base. So for example, ang ating 1 ml ng 1 normal HCl, mag-react yan dapat sa 1 ml na 1 normal NaOH. Okay? So meaning the ratio is always equal to 1 kapag parehas strong yung ating acids and base. So kapag hindi strong ang acids and base, so magkakaroon tayo ng deviation from 1 as the ratio of the both volume. Then why do we make use of normality as the expression of the concentration? So in any acid-base reaction, one equivalent of an acid will always react with one equivalent of the base. But it is not always the case when 1 mole of an acid will react with 1 mole of base. Kasi nga, for example, meron tayong H2SO4. So ang 1 mole ba ng H2SO4 will react with 1 mole of NaOH? So the answer is no, kasi yung H2SO4, meron yang dalawang proton available that can react with only 1 mole of OH minus na galing sa NaOH. So, hindi laging 1 mole of acid will react with 1 mole of base. Pero, ang 1 normal, H2SO4, will react with 1 normal NaOH. Lagi yon. Okay? So what are the possible scenarios that may affect the equivalent weight of the unknown acid? Okay. So una, paano ba natin i-calculate yung ating unknown acid equivalence weight? Yan. So dito nakalagay equivalence ng unknown acid natin. So ang acid natin is in solids. So magbigyan kayo ng unknown sample na solid. So mag-weigh ulit kayo by weighing by difference, then you will titrate it with your standard NaOH. Okay? So how do we calculate for the equivalent weight? So dito, since ito ay solid, ito ay liquid, pag solid again, mass over equivalent weight ang ating ginagamit of unknown acid. Then pag liquid, tayo ay NV. So to calculate for the equivalent weight is just equal to mass of a known acid over NV ng NaOH. Okay, so here is the pertinent equation for the calculation of equivalent weight. So moving forward, so since we have this explanation ng ating equivalent weight ay equal sa mass over NV. Tama ba? Yeah. Mass over NV na NaOH. Yeah. So the scenario here is the NaOH was used 1 week after standardization. So what will be the effect on the equivalent weight? Yan. So based from the explanation, the base solutions absorbs moisture and carbon dioxide. So kapag nag-absorb ng carbon dioxide yung ating base solution, what happens now is it decreases the strength of your NaOH. So kapag bumaba yung strength ng ating NaOH, so what happens here is what? It will have an increase in effect dun sa ating equivalent weight. Okay? So next naman natin is KHP will dissolve in 1 liter of distilled water. So yung anong effect niya kay unknown acid? So no effect siya because wala namang impact yung volume natin. As long as mas dissolve yung ating KHP sa solution, since ang ating equivalence ay mass over equivalent weight, and lahat ng mass na yan ay ma-dissolve, regardless pa yan sa constant sa volume, kung 50 ml ba yan, kung 100 ml, or 1 liter, yung buong mass pa rin yung magagamit natin for calculation. And yung 204.22 pa rin yung magagamit natin na equivalence weight. So, same pa rin yung makakalculate nating equivalence sa NaOH. So, same pa rin ito. Then, same pa rin yung makakalculate nating equivalence weight. Then, KHP was weighed while hot. So, what will be the effect? So, dito daw is, there will be a decrease in equivalent weight. So, paano nangyari yon? So, the actual amount of KHP will be more than the weighed amount. So, from the equivalence pa lang ng standardization, dun tayo magsa-start. Kasi equivalence ng NaOH ay equal sa equivalence ng KHP. So, yung mass over equivalent weight natin ay equal sa NV. So, yung mass kasi natin dito is, yung actual mass natin is mababa. So, basically, pag mababa yan, what will be the effect to do sa volume na magagamit natin? So, in a sense, mas mababa yung volume na magagamit natin. Pag mababa yung volume, tataas itong normality natin. So, pag mataas yung normality natin, tataas itong N dito. So, ang implication niya sa equivalence weight is bababa. Okay? Next naman is 1 ml of phenolphthalein was used. So, ang phenolphthalein kasi natin, kapag nag-add tayo sa solution is 2 to 3 drops lang. So, normally, 2 to 3 drops only of phenolphthalein yung ginagamit natin. Pero kapag 1 ml, masyado nang marami yon. So, magko-contribute na sa acidity ng ating analyte yung phenolphthalein. So, basically, what happens is it will decrease the equivalent weight of your unknown acid. Okay? Bakit it will decrease? Kasi lalaki yung volume mo ng NaOH na magagamit. Kasi bakit lalaki? Kasi ino-neutralize din ngayon phenolphthalein na inad mo. So aakyat to, bababa ang ating equivalence weight. Next, the titration that we have done is overrun, meaning to say, napasobra ka sa endpoint. So yung nakikita mo na ngayon is sobrang intense pink na. So ang makikita natin doon is there will be a decrease in the equivalent weight since malaki nga rin yung volume na magagamit mo. Pag malaki yung volume, mas mababa yung equivalent weight na makakalculate natin. Tapos, meron pala tayo ditong practice na kapag malapit na tayo sa equivalence point or sa endpoint, we will wash the tip of the burette. So, suppose ito yung ating tip. So, nagko-control tayo ng stopcock na magkakaroon tayo ng half drop dito. Tapos, iwawash natin yan with wash bottle. Yan. Para half drop lang yung mapupunta dun sa ating analyte. So, what if too much washing of burette tip was done? So, walang impact yon dun sa ating calculation since ang ating equivalence point naman is calculated as NV is equal to mass over equivalent weight. Okay? So, dapat ganito yung makita nating endpoint, no? For the titration. So, ito yung colorless natin. And dyan kayo magsa-start actually. Tapos, as you add your titrant to your solution, once there is an abrupt change of color from colorless to faint pink, doon na kayo titigil ng titration. So this serves as your endpoint. Yan. So the faintest color of pink shall do para sa ating endpoint. Okay, for the post-lab report, dapat meron kayong 2 trials of the determination of mass of KHP, then volume of NaOH for the standardization of NaOH, and the calculation of normality. Tapos, yung meron kayong normality for trial 1 and trial 2. Yun yung gagamitin nyo for the calculation of average normality. Okay? Then, magpaproceed tayo dun sa average normality ng NaOH. This will be used for the calculation of normality of HCl trial 1 and normality of HCl trial 2. Tapos yung values na to will be used to calculate for the average N of HCl. Okay? Tapos, another table should have been included for the determination of the equivalent weight of the unknown acid. So yung unknown acid natin must be determined by means of weighing by difference. Also, you should have included a table in case of back titration. Kasi kapag back titration, ginagawa natin is based from the bar that we have discussed earlier, kung ito yung ating equivalence point, yan. Tapos, napasobra ka ng konti dito, yan, ito yung overrun mo. Ang pwede mo kasing gawin dyan is, yung overrun natin, mag-a-add tayo ng standard HCl para bumalik siya dun sa equivalence point natin. So, kapag nag-add tayo ng HCl dito, so meaning to say, binabalik natin sa equivalence point. Since yung excess OH minus natin na na-add initially will be reacted with the additional of HCl on the subsequent titration during the back titration part. Okay? Then, ganito din yung ating comparison. Then, for the determination of the equivalent weight of the unknown acid. So, dito, bibigyan tayo ng list of unknown acid. Tapos, you will check based from your equivalent weight kung ano ba yung probable identity of your unknown acid. Okay? So again, for the reminders, the determination of mass must be done by weighing by difference. And then the determination of volume. So dapat meron ka initial and final burette reading. Then the total volume dispensed. Then for the average, so dapat ika-calculate nyo muna yung parameter in each trial. Then you will calculate for the average of that parameter and the average deviation of the final answer. Okay? Then you must show the initial and final reading of the burette and the total volume dispensed for HCl and NaOH for trials 1 and 2 so that you can report kung ano yung implication ng ratio between the two acids and bases. Okay? So I think this ends the presentation for the pre-lab discussion of XR 4A. So I hope mapabilis natin yung exercise proper natin on next week or the week for your exercise. So if you have any questions, you may raise it through our Google Space. So for now, thank you for listening.